Hey, hi. Hi everyone, I'm Faye and I'm cute. Hey everyone, it's me again, and it is that time where I review and give you my feels on a makeup product. I bet you guys thought I wasn't gonna come back to these, but some of you who've been subscribed to me for a long time may recall that some time ago I did a review for the Clinique All About Eyeshadow 8-pan palettes in Wear Everywhere Grays and Wear Everywhere Greens. Well, the All About Eyeshadow 8-pan palettes are back. I have gotten all three of the other ones I didn't have, and I'm going to be doing reviews and tutorials for each of them. Today's video is going to be about the All About Eyeshadow 8-pan palette in Wear Everywhere Nudes. So I'm going to talk about the quality of these eyeshadows, I'm going to show you swatches, and long story short, I'm going to tell you if it's worth the doubt. So this comes in the same mirrored packaging as all of the other All About Eyeshadow palettes. It's a fingerprint magnet, I've mentioned that before, but you crack into it and there is absolutely no waste of space. There are the shades right there. The Wear Everywhere Nudes palette is, of course, neutral, although it leans a lot in the warmer direction. Of course, there's a shimmery, like, white color. Why? Why, Clinique, with the shimmery white every single time? I also used this palette in my look today, which there is already a tutorial for on my channel. I will put it in the cards up there and put it in the description down there so you guys can watch it if you want to learn how to get this trendy fall look. But let's crack into the palette, shall we? I'm gonna swatch these first 4 shades here. Yep, there is the first 4 shades. I'll swatch them on my hand for you here, and we'll talk through each and every single one of them. So, really crappy place to swatch, but oh god, there you go. So we'll talk through these 4 shades first. The first shade in the palette is called Alabaster, and it is a new limited edition shade in the palette. It doesn't appear anywhere else in Clinique's line, and it's a shimmery white. It's not as glittery as the whites in some of the other palettes, but it is a very light white color. And the second shade you can barely see on my skin because it looks almost like my skin tone. The second shade is called Daybreak, and it's a very kind of, here, I'll layer it up so you can see it a little bit better. And Daybreak is a very light, see, you still can't even really see it, there you go. It's a light champagne shade with a very yellow undertone. Great for the inner corner, that's how I used it in the look today. It makes a great inner corner highlight. Beautiful color, even though it's not like super metallically pigmented. It's got a good amount of sheen to it, but it's not like glittery, if you know what I'm saying. It's a very good color for a soft, natural look, which I feel like is what they were going for with this palette. And then you've got the third shade from the left in this palette, which is Moroccan Brown. That's this bronzy brown color right there. Beautiful, gorgeous bronzy brown shade. That is the main shadow I have on my lids today. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's pigmented, it's easy to blend. One of my favorite shades in this palette by far. And then another favorite shade of mine in this palette, this one way down my arm right here, which is called At Dusk. At Dusk is a true orangey copper shade. It is beautiful, gorgeous, shimmery, copper metallic awesomeness, and yeah, that's one of my favorite shades in this palette because it is stunning. So yeah, those are the first 4 shades. The pigmentation on these is really good. It's not as good in some of the shades as it is in some of the other palettes. There are definitely winners and losers in this palette for sure. But all in all, I'm pretty impressed with the shades. I'll swatch the other 4 for you. So here are the final 4 shades. Alright, so there are the final 4 shades in the worst swatch in the history of life ever. But, forgive the swatches, but the back of my hand is really dirty, and I do not want that to affect the color quality of the swatches for you. So, here are the final 4 swatches. The first one in the second section is called Sahara Sun. It is limited so it's not in any of the other palettes. It is beautiful. It's a kind of true rose gold sort of shade. Really, really does have a place in this palette for sure. The second shade is called Jute Brown. I used this to define my crease a little further today. It's a very, very deep, dark brown. There's my lighting. Hey, what's up? It's a very, very deep, dark brown. It's got kind of a neutral undertone, but it's got a gold sheen to it. It's not glittery, but it does have a definite sheen inside there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera, but definitely has some sheen, but I could still use it in the outer corner of my eyes with very little issue. The third shade down here is the light shade of the Starlight Starbright duo. So there you go. This one is actually sold in another duo in the Clinique line. This one is a kind of taupey, yeah, I would say it's kind of a taupey beige color with some gold shimmer throughout it. This one's a little bit on the flaky side when you first swatch it, but from my experience, it hasn't really shown any flakiness on the eyes. And then finally at the bottom, you have Chocolate Bark, and Chocolate Bark is the only matte shade in this palette, is a true neutral matte brown. Let's talk pros and cons. These shades are gorgeous to look at. They are very blendable, they're decently pigmented, they're just as easy to work with as any of the other Clinique eyeshadows, just like I've talked about. That has not changed. The thing I don't like about this particular palette is there's only one matte, and that particular matte shade, which is Chocolate Bark back here, is, you know, it's a matte neutral brown, but it's a little bit deep and dark. And what I was really hungering for when I was working with this palette is a matte skin tone color to use as a blending shade, and a kind of lighter, warmer matte to use as a sort of transition shade. So, you know, you only have one matte color to work with, so if you don't like putting shimmery shades in your crease, which I know a lot of people don't, you're not going to be able to use this palette to create a look all its own, or too many looks on its own. You're definitely going to have to bring in other eyeshadows from your collection. That said, it's not a bad palette. I mean, the shades that you have here are gorgeous. They're very, very trendy. This is going to be a very pretty fall palette, and you know, it's a nice little thing to have around, provided that you have the other shades that are missing out of this in the kind of matte family, or provided that you don't mind using shimmery shades in the crease. So, the long and the short of it, do I think this palette is worth the $36 price tag? Well, that depends. I mean, if you have sensitive eyes, Clinique eyeshadows are ophthalmologist tested. They are perfect for use on sensitive eyes. My eyes aren't terribly sensitive, but I do get some sensitivity sometimes. Never had a problem with these. And most of the people I know who do have sensitive eyes or wear contact lenses and things like that love these kinds of shadows. They're very, very gentle. They're very, very good for people with sensitivities in the eye area. So if you're one of those kinds of people and you're looking for a lot of pretty neutral pops of shimmer to incorporate into your looks, then Wear Everywhere Nudes is going to be great for you. But if you're not phased or you're not plagued by eye sensitivity and you already have quite a few neutral eyeshadow palettes in your collection, honestly, I'd probably skip this one. I mean, I'm glad I have it personally, just because of some of the bronzy, coppery shades in here that are going to be beautiful for use in fall makeup looks, but I have so many other neutral palettes in my collection, and this one, it doesn't really give me, like, it doesn't give me anything new. It doesn't give me anything I haven't really seen before in other palettes. But if you do have sensitive eyes and you need a neutral palette that's going to be perfect for work or school or kind of, you know, natural, neutral situations, then Wear Everywhere Nudes is going to be a great palette for you. Alright guys, that's about it for my thoughts on the Clinique All About Eyeshadow 8-pan palette in Wear Everywhere Nudes. What do you guys think? Do you have this palette? Do you love it? Do you want to see reviews and tutorials of the other Wear Everywhere palettes? Because guess what? That is definitely coming. I've got the other three, well, the other two that I haven't reviewed yet that I'm definitely going to be making videos for. I also have a lot of other palettes happening. I've got the Battle of the Matte Eyeshadows video coming up. I've got holiday palettes to review. It's going to be a fun makeup time in Faith Grenade Land. So I hope you guys found this review helpful and informative. If you did, there's a button for that. Spank that like button in the butt. You know it deserves it. And if you want to see more from me, subscribe and become a member of the faithful today so you don't miss another video. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.